Okay, and last but not least, the pop dog. It's a very skinny little popper, but it's got the typical cup face at the front. It's got a center pointed toe point in the middle of the cup, which gives it a couple of different retrieve options. It's not just your standard bloop style cup face. You can actually get this guy to walk a little bit as well. It doesn't walk half as easy as the scum dog, but it still can get up and boogie. Also works fairly well on a medium pace retrieve as well. It just has like a super jet of water poking out the front of it. It's pretty funny to watch. But again, it does sit tail down about 45 degrees, more head out of the water than the scum dog, but it's just as easy to suck under for a fish that doesn't do it well, and even 10 times easier for a fish that does do it well, like a bass or an estuary perch or a small barra or some one of those perchy style creatures that do that sucking your lure so really well. But the pop dog, it's actually a long minnow profile, but also works well as a prawn. So if you're in a prawny part of the world, this little guy just jittered or skidded across the surface, does a fantastic job of imitating those, and we've got some good prawny style colours and a whole heap more colours coming at you too. You watch this colour range evolve. It'll turn into something that is mostly governed by you guys out there, the anglers, because I mean, after all, yes, I do like designing colours, but at the end of the day, I have to listen to you guys more than anything, because you're my boss. So yeah, skinny, pop, little bit of walk. Let's do it. Okay, I'm on the death adder this time, because this is not that it's going to catch me a bigger fish, but it has the profile to do so. So I've got the more powerful butt section of the death adder matched to the incredibly sensitive and finessey style tip. Now, with this lure, you can also fish the Mexican racer. The racer has a light enough tip. It does work into a bit of power further up, but it does have a light enough tip. The only problem you'll have with that is if you are going to do the shake and retrieve constantly, this is an easier rod to do that with. But if you're going to pop bloop it, then the racer is probably the better rod. I've only got 2 hands and 2 arms. I don't have 4, otherwise I'd have 2 rods going at once. Anyhow, pump the lure out there, and then this is a simple matter of winding the lure till the line comes tight to the lure. Pop, so you're hanging onto it, and then when it does, just give it just one flick and keep winding. Flick, flick, wind, flick, wind, flick, wind, flick. And you'll see that the lure draws pop, draw pop, draw pop. Just like a shrimp that was swimming across, or a prawn that was swimming across the surface, flicking every now and then, trying to get away from a predator. That's what they really do like. And this is a lure, this is a surface lure that you can use in really rough conditions, because it does have a lot of flotation to it. And here we got some rough conditions coming in from a boat wake, like mini tsunamis. Here they come. The old pop dog will be able to push through all of those things, no worries at all. So your standard pop and wind retrieve. Now, the thing I really do love about the pop dog is the amount of water that it spits, and that's a matter of lowering the toe point into the middle of the cup, so that when you pull it through the water, there's plenty of upward facing cup to spray that water out the front to the sides. So this thing will spit water 2 to 3 feet, say a metre ahead of the lure, if you want it to. It doesn't have to, but it can. So it has a great calling card. Not only does the V in the water attract fish, but that spraying, the water coming out and hitting the droplets of water coming out and hitting the surface of the water, fantastic at attracting predatory fish. You might be fishing to a snag-based or structure-based fish, and the water might be a little bit turbid, or it might be at night and the fish doesn't have that good a vision, and he'll be listening for the droplets of water or water splashing, and that's what this guy does really well. So you can leave it in the strike zone and pop, 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 3 pops, wind up the slack, and that will draw the lure through the water, maybe only you know, 80 centimeters, but you've had 3 massive pops, thrown water everywhere. So it's great at calling up the fish. This is it's like ringing the dinner bell, all of those little splashes that the pop dog gives you. Pop, pop, pop. Now you'll see if you pop too quickly, it'll spray one, go under, take a mouthful of air with it, wiggle around a bit, pop back up, spit, wobble around a bit more under the surface, and then come to the top, which is a fantastic retrieve for a bait fish. If you're trying to imitate the wounded minnow, then that's an absolute classic. Okay, then there is the standard shake and retrieve. Again, it's just a classic, soft plastics, hard bodies, like bring it on. Does it work everywhere or what? Shake and retrieve, we love it. And that's just very gentle though. And you'll see tiny little spits of water coming out the front of him. And that's also how you'll get him to walk a little bit side to side as well with the shake and retrieve. Classic. He's all over the place, darting left, right, left, right. Little tiny spits of water coming out the front, but constantly moving. And then, of course, the high-speed retrieve. Just a nice, gentle sweep with the rod tip, and having a soft-tipped rod as well gets that load, makes the rod load on the backstroke, and then it releases the lure sweetly for you. It's not aggressive, bang, and the lure's tangling and tumbling. Because of the length of the body of this lure, it does want to turn around in the air because the head of it is lighter than the tail, so it wants to tumble the other way around. So having a nice sweet cast or sweet flow of the rod tip through the cast will help you alleviate any tangling. And also, here we go, just a high-speed retrieve. Now, if you don't put your rod tip up, it'll dive under the surface. So rod tip up for this one, and tends to want to lay on its side. You know, all surface lures that have a cup face, when you wind them flat out, whether it's a GT popper or or the tiniest little cup face popper, they tend to want to lay on their sides. Royter, you idiot. You've got a tangle, and there we go. Line management skills. All right, here we go. And then stop. You can stop it with any hand you like, but I like to stop the lure before it hits the water. That ensures that it's tail out, head towards you, not the other way around. I do that with my index finger. I'll give you a close-up of that. Okay, so that's how I hold my line. So my finger goes, where are we? There we are. My finger goes under the bail and onto the lip, not the line, but the lip of the spool. Open the bail and the line instantly falls down into that index finger point right there. Rod back, forward, and then stop. So I actually stop the line with my finger before the lure hits the water, and that makes sure that the lure is in the right line for retrieve. It's not about face going to swim back with its hands on its head and it's having a bit of a strife, so it's all good. But yeah, favourite retrieve with a pop dog is probably the 1, 2, 3, 4 little pops, and then just let it rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, just let it rest. Just beautiful little bloop, 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 and then still. And then boom, got him on. Fantastic. Look, if you find yourself out there and you've only got fluorocarbon line or leader material, even your main line might be fluorocarbon, and your lures aren't swimming well, just hold your rod up as high as you can get it to go. Keep as much line off the water, or at least get it coming towards the surface as much as you can. And that'll alleviate the line wanting to pull the lure under the surface and not making it swim correctly. So please remember, try to get some nylon line for either your leader or your main line, and grease it up with some silicone product, and you will never have a surface lure swimming dilemma again.